Okay, good evening. Today is March the 12th. We open the meeting. Let's go first. Minutes, 226. Should we read it right now or should we read it later? Not even have to vote. I already read it. Okay, correspondence, anything? We have any correspondence?
No, but you're going to vote on the minutes?
To accept the minutes.
Well, the gentleman just came in. That's what I was waiting for him to come. Did you read the minutes already?
Yeah, I already approved.
Okay, you're approving?
Yep.
Make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. See, we do.
Thank you.
We got to make sure everybody's here. Okay, and correspondence?
You're on the spot as soon as you sit
No.
down.
I did my homework.
Sign permits we do later, okay?
Okay.
Okay. 7:10? Well, we are early already.
Yeah, we are.
How do you like
And
that?
I do have one extra thing, Gino.
Yes, sir.
We received notification from the state about the nomination for the animal inspector.
Okay.
So if you wanted to make a motion to
Do we know?
renominate
Renominate?
Phyllis Tower.
Okay. You all know who Felix is, right?
She the lady at the dump?
No.
No.
That's
she's
another
the
Phyllis.
For the
The
animal.
animal.
But that's another Phyllis, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
the
I don't know
same.
the dump.
Yeah, there's another, the same one we had.
Phyllis.
That's right, you don't live in town.
Yeah.
But her name is Phyllis, too.
Okay, you guys, this is my circus, this is a meeting, and I'm conducting it.
You have 10
You make
minutes.
me look
You have
bad,
10 minutes.
right, Kevin?
You could sign
All right.
permits. Oh, yeah, so make a motion first.
So I'll make a motion to renominate
Renominate, yeah.
Phyllis as the
All in second?
animal officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor, yes. Okay, we all set, okay?
All right.
Can we
You
go,
want to do some permits?
well, yeah, we got 7 minutes.
Yeah.
As if there too many, we don't want to.
No, there's only two, because
Oh,
one has
okay,
to be
we don't want
waited
the
for.
customer to wait too long, they get upset.
I know. All right, so Jim says
That what?
this one actually has two places to sign.
Excuse me,
2 places to sign on this one.
okay,
There's a couple of,
okay, good, thank you.
and this one's just normal.
Okay, no,
Why are there 2 places to sign on?
Yeah, what's this?
there's 2 permits,
You'll have to look.
there are 2 permits.
There's an
It's
addendum.
like restriction piece to it.
Yeah, that was the.
Just take it apart so you can read it.
Beautiful,
Here, you want to start that one down that way? or on
no
down this
problem.
one?
We can do this in 2 seconds.
Is there a way you can do it as a summary so
Right.
that everybody knows? Or it's easier to just look.
Okay, you ready? How you like that, huh? Quick. Right here, right?
That's the second place.
That's the
Here,
second.
sign this.
All right. You okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So on Mill Road, there's 67 Mill Road, it's just a deed restriction, there's no variance here?
Yeah, wasn't that what
Hill
we,
Street, what the hell is it?
Oh, it's a septic.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
What we did
Taylor Street
last.
wants it was gotta be business, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's no variance listed.
right, they just wanted to add a
Gotta be a
room.
business.
I think it said
Was
it
this
on
the last
front.
meeting?
With a business?
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
No variance?
6,000 gallons, wow. We shared that.
Oh.
All right, go together for this? Or you wanna hold it?
I'll hold it.
I think I was here for this one.
We're doing good.
And what is this one?
6,000 gallons a day. It's gonna be a business.
Yeah, no, it's a warehouse with 200 employees and no cafeteria.
Taylor Street, I think I know what it is. It's the big building that they're trying to sell it. You know what I'm talking about?
151 Taylor.
Yeah. It's gotta be there.
I don't blame you for not wanting to touch my pen.
No, I just should have my
I
own.
have bronchitis.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Sit
I know, I've got my,
You got a pen? I have an extra one.
I got it. Got a pen?
Yeah.
She has a pen.
She's good.
Kevin, you got a pen?
Yep.
so this has no variance also. Oh, attached it down now.
Anybody watch that, was it Board of Health, Board of Selectmen last night?
Did you?
No, I think it was like to review what's going on at town meeting. I think they're here again tonight.
So this has no variance either. Okay, pass back. This is for the two-pager. That's covered. I need to keep track of that.
This was kind of interesting.
Yeah, they probably have to have a tight tank there.
Yeah, they are. I guess they can't figure out what else to do.
You're not gonna knife us, are you?
No, just
All right. Because I was gonna give you 2 minutes or so. If you have something like that, I'll be prepared to knock you out, but you have a pencil, so I can't do that. All right. All right. All right. Do we have time? Can we proceed?
7:10?
Okay. Open a meeting, sir? You?
So
Be
at 7:10,
comfortable.
we have a public hearing on 20 Westchester Drive.
Right. You have a map?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
My name's Chris McKenzie from Ducharme and Doze. I have a couple extra copies of the plan here.
Thank you.
The site plan is a little small, so,
I noticed, yeah.
Can fit on one page?
yeah, it's a tough little postage stamp that we're working on. So the property is located at number 20 wetland areas.
Right,
The lot is about a 9,000 square foot lot.
okay.
So obviously quite tiny. The existing system was deemed a failure, and so we've designed a new system to go basically in the same location as the existing leach area.
Right.
That's really the only area on the lot that's usable, which actually applies to a couple of the local upgrades and variances that we're asking for. So we've designed a Presby system here. We also have a poly barrier about 6 feet off of the system. Around two sides of it, and then just beyond that we have a retaining wall a couple of feet off of the property line to keep the fill on the property. Obviously, if we had to grade it out, it would have filled onto the neighboring properties.
Are you 10 feet away from for the property line?
No, we are not. Oh, I believe the system's 10 feet,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
some of the other stuff is not.
Okay.
Yeah, the system's at least 10 feet from the property lines on both sides. But some of the other things that we have to ask for
I
the wall
noticed that, I noticed
and the drainage and stuff. So we're asking for two local regulation variances. One from Regulation 23 regarding walls, impervious barriers, and fill. Retaining walls, impervious barriers, and fill shall be no less than 10 feet from a property line. We are proposing a 1-foot setback for fill, which is really just the work that we're doing for the drainage swale that's going to go around. So we're not filling in the sense of the word fill. We're actually just excavating and going to create a swale, a stone swale along two sides of the system. The purpose of that is it's twofold really. It's one, to prevent water from our property going onto the abutting properties.
How deep is this well?
It's going to be a
Nice swale.
detail for it.
Stone and
Yeah,
everything?
a stone swale. I think it was 1 foot wide by 1 foot deep with 2 to 3 inch stone in there. So like I said, it's dual purpose to prevent water from coming from our property onto the neighboring properties. And all the water on this area all ends up down in the wetland down here in the low spot.
Okay.
So there'll be water coming from other properties towards this direction too. So we're hoping to pick some of that and prevent that from running into the septic system. So what we're requesting for is a 1 foot setback for fill, 2.5 foot setback for the retaining wall, and 4.5 setback for an impervious barrier. Those are all located right there, between the system and the property line. Regulation 27 is kind of a redundant one regarding fill requirements. No portion of the required fill will be within 10 feet of a property line. Like I said, we're going to be about a foot from the property line to the edge of that swale. Title V local upgrade approvals that we're requesting 3 of those. 310 CMR 15405-1H regards the reduction of the required 4-foot separation between the estimated seasonal high groundwater table and the bottom of the leach area. Because we are proposing a Presby system, the Presby approval letter by DEP allows for a 2-foot reduction in the groundwater offset instead of the traditional 1 foot that's allowed for conventional systems. So we're requesting that 2-foot reduction, giving us, I believe, a 2-foot groundwater offset. We weren't, 2-foot groundwater offset.
It's helpful for maintaining the system of the lot.
It would be, it's already pretty difficult as it is, raising it up another foot or two would be just difficult. Request number 2 is 310 CMR 15405-1J regarding the reduction of the 12-inch separation between the inlet and outlet tees and the estimated seasonal groundwater table. We are proposing that it's going to be less than 12 inches. I did a quick calc before I left the house. The outlet of the pump chamber is basically going to be right at the groundwater table, if anybody was curious. It's not a requirement that we give an offset of any sort there. In fact, the pipe can be in the water table. It all falls under the local upgrade approval. Third request is 310 CMR 15405-1K. At least one depot has been performed in the disposal area. Unfortunately, as I stated earlier, the existing system is where we're putting the new system, so we couldn't really do a depot in there and get any kind of accurate result. So we did a depot on either side, one just off the corner of the house about 5 feet from the system area, and then another one on the other side of the house about maybe 15 or 20 feet. And one of them is located here, and one right there. And we have
So you have a
results
Presby system, right?
Yes, that's correct. And so we only have one depot. We're only counting the one depot close to the system. I think that other depot may have been from a previous
The depth.
work.
Did you hit groundwater in the deep hole?
We have an estimated groundwater table at 18 inches.
So that's modeling?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did not, don't see it here. Surface, water, fumes. No, it doesn't look like we hit any water in the hole. No, we did not, because we were able to run a perk test.
Yeah.
Lawrence Nelson, I'm at 22 Westchester. Very familiar with this area. I'm on, if you're looking at the property.
Your
down
name,
on
excuse me? Your name?
Lawrence Nelson.
Okay, thank you.
20 Westchester Drive.
This
You're
is
in a
his
butter.
property right here.
I'm in a butter.
Yeah.
When did you do the water test?
We didn't do a water, there's no water test.
Okay, well,
We did a deep hole test. It was done in September of 2018.
okay.
How deep was the hole?
How deep was the hole?
Should have been 10.
Maximum depth that we got was 76 inches.
Okay.
I think it says
You didn't hit
66.
water?
Wait a
You
minute.
didn't
I
hit
think,
water?
I think it says 66.
18 to 76 right
Oh, okay, so that's the test pit, right?
Oh, you're looking at the depth of the perk test.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay. So what is the, it says depth from surface, top of 12 inches of water. Depth from surface, 66 inches. What's the,
That's the perk test.
so the depth of the
That test
hole?
was not done by our company. That was done back in 1991.
So
Oh.
it's outdated test.
No,
Okay. So
perk tests don't expire.
So the
Okay.
depth of the, is that the depth of the hole for the perk test, or is that, what is that 66 inches?
Yes, that would be to the bottom of the perk hole. That's traditionally the measurement that we give. I don't know where these numbers came from the original design plan.
And who stamped the plan?
Who stamped this plan?
Yeah.
Brandon Duchamp.
Jack Maloney? Oh, no, that's okay.
No, Jack Maloney is our soil evaluator.
And the test pit hole is 76 inches, like you said, okay.
Yeah, depth 76 inches, correct.
It's supposed to
But
be
you
a-
didn't find, there's no groundwater?
Oh, you definitely hit water. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get
Well,
at.
again, the estimated water, okay, we did. We found water, observed water at 18 inches. So it was found at 18 inches, and we found modeling at 18 inches.
Oh, okay. So you
Oh.
hit it at high water, if the
Yeah.
modeling in the water was
Right,
the
that's
same.
that's why we used the old perk test, because we couldn't run a perk test in 18-inch groundwater table.
Well, you
So-
used a sieve.
No, they didn't.
No, we didn't do a sieve.
They used a 1990 perk test.
There was a 1991 perk test that Jim Murphy said we could use.
I
It's a
think-
17-minute rate. So
But that hole
pretty
only
fast.
got down to 5 feet, 5.5 feet.
Right.
And that system was put in because it had originally failed also. So that whole backyard, majority of it was dug up, the new system that he's replacing.
Well, we need to allow them to repair the system that's there. So
Right.
you have a 2-bedroom house, you're proposing a 3-bedroom system.
No. This is a 2-bedroom house. It will be a 2-bedroom house. I believe Jim said that we'll need to do a 2-bedroom deed restriction.
But why is
Title
it-
V
it's a-
requires that a system be sized for a 3-bedroom. It's the minimum sizing in Title V.
But the permit would be for a 2-bedroom with a deed
That's
restriction for a 2-bedroom. Okay.
In fact, the Conservation Commission approval, they knew what would happen when I came here. They knew you guys would want a 2-bedroom deed restriction, and they included that in their approval as well, the Conservation Commission, that it remained a 2-bedroom.
Where's the wetland?
There's a little area on the one of the neighboring properties, actually land owned by the town, over in the back corner. It's off the property, right there.
Small lot.
Are there,
Oh, tiny. They're all tiny out there.
I know.
Typical lake properties.
and these are the existing contours here?
Yes. Pretty flat. It's we got a 98 right here that wraps right around and comes back in. And then a 97 that comes around down that way. That's really it, 2
You
contours.
got really high water.
How close are the wetlands?
They're right here and it's
Oh, they're-
flat.
The leach area is
which
going to be
means that
about
they're-
50 and a half
This is
feet.
a wet lot, is wet. Because if it's
Yeah.
flat and that's a wetland, and he's getting water at 18 inches,
It's actually a semi-dredged out area. The original owner of my property actually owned that lot, which the town has now taken over. His plan was to use that back lot as a new septic system, but before he could, he got foreclosed on, and basically, there's a pit with a huge hole, there's a dredged out area, and the dirt from it. Subsequently, the next neighbor down at, past me, the original owner of that property took the vernal pool that was in next to that, adjacent to it, filled that in, put in a legal barn, did the illegal barn, which then subsequently had to be torn down. And then his system, actually, if you truly want to look at it, is at the second story of his living space. So between the guy behind Wayne, this property, and probably mine and his eventually, we're going to have nothing but huge mounds in our backyard. Right now what happens is any rainwater that comes off of the owner behind Wayne, Ipswich, drains into his,
And they go to you.
goes right through to me. And I can tell you during those heavy rains we had a few weeks ago, a couple months ago,
You
my
say,
lot floods
by-
out.
but you say by putting that swell is going to prevent that?
All right, so we're not preventing anything as far as storm drainage goes, no. The only requirement we have to meet is that we don't allow water from my lot to go down slope that we've created and onto the neighboring properties.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm preventing.
But my concern is you're going to make a U shape in the back of that lot, and you're gonna funnel it into our 2 yards, and I'm gonna flood out.
There's no U-shaping form. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, your retaining wall is gonna go how many sides?
2 sides.
2 sides, so you're gonna do 2 sides. I thought it was going to be 3.
Nope.
So who's the unlucky guy who doesn't get the side?
16 or
Jim Garecki did not want
22.
us to create a bathtub
That's
in this
me.
situation.
You
So-
got no wall on your
So I have no wall on my side. So where's that water going to go?
Downhill towards the wetlands, as it always has in the past. And really, we're talking about water running off from here. This is going to be lawn. We're not creating pavement or surfaces that are going to be impervious and create runoff going all over the place.
If you want to,
This is lawn.
if you want to compensate the neighbor, I mean, if you put in 2 walls, even though Jimmy might say, you know, the 3rd wall is not necessary, if you can accommodate, how tall the wall is?
We're creating
2
a
feet?
situation
But-
by
but
doing that where
2
we're
feet?
going to
You're going to have 2
a failed
feet, the wall,
system.
the wall is going to be 2 feet high?
About that, yeah.
Why would that have a failed system?
Because what you do when you start putting a retaining wall around a system like this, you're creating a bathtub where none of the liquid underground has anywhere to go except straight down, and that's it. It's got no surface area going out to the sides, and eventually, and what'll happen, in order to put a wall there, I'm also going to have to put a poly barrier, so nothing's going through that at all ever, and it's all going to go straight down. Eventually, the water's just going to keep collecting in there.
But if you say you're going to put a swell, can you put a little deeper swell in the wall that he doesn't have?
So 1 foot by 1 foot swale.
I know, look, I worked there for 40 years in construction. Sometimes we can exaggerate and sometimes we can accommodate. 1 foot maybe is not enough. If you can prevent the water to go to his land or to his property, wouldn't it be nice to accommodate, make it like, can you do me a favor? You do this swell, nice, 2 feet, okay? Go 2 feet, not 1 feet. Put a lot of stone, 6 inches, not 3 inches. You will have no problem.
I would be concerned that we might create a problem, because if you go 2 feet, the bottom of that trench is now going to be at least 6 inches into the groundwater table.
What's this?
So you're actually creating a wick situation where when the water table comes up, it's going to wick into that stone pit and then want to leach out.
What's the existing system like? Is it a
I
high?
have no idea, it's failed. It's down in the ground.
It's
It's in the water table.
So it's not mounded?
No,
No.
it's a flat lot, basically.
It's in the water table.
It's a
So
hard-
It's in the water table, that's why it's failed.
That's the problem.
It's in the water table.
It's a difficult, that area, I mean, we're on the way to the lake. The only thing that stops the water from coming from basically Goldsmith and Newtown down through us is there is a drainage ditch before his property that then pushes it
Out,
towards town, and then subsequently the storm drains pick up the rest.
I see.
But again, I'm not looking for my lot to get flooded out.
Are you proposing a swale on the right-hand side of the property with a drainage ditch along?
This side and this side.
The other side, his side.
This side, no, it's the downhill side. And
That's
and
what's
we've
going to
got,
collect all the water, though.
we've got about 30 feet to the property line from there.
I think we'd like to see something along that property line that's going to prevent his from flooding out.
I'd like to see you push it out to the front. The other side of the equation is, That house has been abandoned for at least 8, maybe almost 10 years.
Yeah.
No one has lived in that house. When the tenants were there, their basement would flood out every single time. The fire department would show up, pump them out. I don't know how many furnaces she had put in. When it rains, we flood. And I'm confident that you guys can design a system, push the water to the front of the house, push it down the road, or you can even talk to the townies and tie into the storm drain.
Do you have a storm drain in the street?
Yes, we have, we, on our side of the road, that's where the storm drain is.
Yeah, that's what we should do.
Yeah, we've done that in other houses.
You know, there's enough,
There's no way I'm gonna be able to get water from, about a 97 contour over here out to the road at 97. I can't do it. I can't make water go uphill and up and over the house. The house elevation is at 100 feet, the top of foundation. And all of
We're
the...
talking about taking this water here, running into a drain here, and bringing it out to the road here where the storm drain is.
You're saying there's not enough room above the water table to get gravity, right? To get a gravity.
Can you repeat that question? I didn't understand.
I think you're saying you can't get the flow because you can't get enough head on the pipe to drain it because the water table is so high, is that right? Or no?
No, the system is going to be 4 feet over the water.
I don't know if I understand you correctly. You're talking about the system or the drainage or the stormwater?
Why can't the drainage work? That's the question.
Well, aside from creating a new drainage system where we're putting in catch basins and running pipe and stuff,
Yeah.
there's no way. The elevation of the system, the top of the system is at 100. And it drops down to 97 at the outside of it. The road is at elevation 900. How am I going to make water go 100 feet and no room to make it go downhill? And the only way I can do that is to put it in the ground.
Yeah.
I have no information for drainage in the street,
All this.
so I don't know what we have to run
The
into.
water needs to go here.
Right.
That's where it goes already.
and then
Okay.
bring
That's
it
where it goes
down to
now?
the road.
That's where it goes now.
Drain.
We're not changing anything about the drainage patterns in this place at all. I don't understand what,
I don't agree.
I don't understand what the issue is. We're actually going to reduce the amount of water that collects in this area because we're going to be putting a system in there. So this is no longer going to be a ponding area if it was ponding at all before. There's a shed located here that's in rough shape that's going to have to come down.
So maybe you could just look into it some more, because we have had that done at other properties in the lake area. We did
Why
it
don't
on
we read Jim's
Lincoln
comments?
Drive.
Yeah, that's what, I was waiting until they get all excited. Okay, would you be kind enough to read it anyway?
20 Westchester Drive. The existing sewage disposal system for the site is in failure. The leaching area is in the seasonal high water table. Soil testing was conducted, and due to the high water table, a soil sample was sent for sieve analysis to establish a perk rate. The site has a number of constraints to the design and installation of a system in full compliance with Title V annual regulations, seasonal high water table at 18 inches. High perk rate is 17 minutes per inch at small lot and wetlands. The designer has proposed a system that maximizes compliance with Title V annual regulations and minimizes the potential to affect abutting properties. The designer proposes the use of the Presby system for the leaching area. The DEP approval of the Presby allows for a 2-foot reduction to the groundwater offset. This is extremely helpful to maintain the system on the lot in conjunction with the wall and allow the system area to be graded to minimize surface runoff onto the abutting properties. I do not have an issue with the request based on the site constraints and because the area is served by town water.
So sieve analysis?
We didn't do a sieve analysis. I don't
Okay, so
know.
there's a disconnect there, because Jim says a sieve analysis and it
Yeah,
wasn't
we
one
didn't do a
done.
sieve analysis.
So there's this disconnect between his.
But he does
notes.
call out the 17-minute rate that we're using.
And then I'd like to see you go back and see what you can do about tying into a storm drain.
Also, since you're so close to the wetlands, I'm not comfortable with the 2 foot. I think a 1 foot offset is more appropriate.
With the water, because the water table is really high. It's higher than it has been, and there's properties flooding over there. They're
I
never
understand that.
flooded
and,
before.
You know, we did the testing to find the water table at 18 inches. It really doesn't get much worse than that.
Well, it does, because sometimes it gets up to the surface.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, surface water isn't groundwater, so you...
No, I'm talking about the water table coming up.
Yeah,
Well, the modeling that we spotted out here over the millennia
I'm not saying it's
didn't show
happening.
that.
I'm
so-
not saying it's happening here.
Okay.
I'm just, that's how things work. And if you have too much precipitation, the water table comes up and it floods, and
Again,
it's happening.
This is a relatively conventional installation in a system, in a location like this. It meets all of the state codes for offsets from the wetland. It meets all the requirements that DEP has for allowing a 2-foot groundwater offset in this location.
But you've already.
As you're trying to squeeze in 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag,
Right, if we put
need
more
to,
pounds in
we
there,
need to,
we're
we need to sort of
create
make
more
other
trouble.
accommodations for the water and the problem that we're creating with this.
I don't think by making a higher mound, we're gonna solve any problems.
And the water going to the,
The suggestion was that we would not be allowed the 2-foot groundwater reduction. And that would mean we'd have to raise the system another foot. So the wall will be a foot higher, the grading's gonna be a foot higher, and everything else. The poly barrier, the slope coming down, the slope, the toe of the slope going to the neighbor over here is gonna be closer. We've been up and down this thing. Jim Gareffi has sent me 2 or 3 sets of review comments. The Conservation Commission has reviewed this. They were the ones that asked for the walls and the area, the drainage swales and all of those things.
That's because it's really hard to be comfortable with this project.
I understand that.
It's highly problematic, and there are people who are going to be affected by it, and it's the environment. So
I
there's a
understand
lot,
how-
and that's why you're getting all that.
I understand how much this is. I've been working on this plan since November.
Okay, great.
I've done many other designs that have actually been installed and completed at this point, but this one is still going through the
Well, I've
approval
lived there for
process.
30 years, I know what the water table.
Yeah. I have a crawl space that is actually unusable. When it rains, the water comes up through my pump chamber.
I've actually been in this house, I've seen all the water in the
Yeah,
basement.
yeah,
It's- yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Make a motion?
I mean,
Go ahead, make a motion. You feel comfortable, right? We're trying to accommodate. That's why I let you guys speak. We have to, trying to make everybody happy. I thought maybe we can solve it by, have a bigger swell, but like you said, it's right close to the water table, you know what I mean? So, if you can put a pipe, can you put a pipe between there, like he mentioned, Kevin?
We can
Right
try
there?
putting a pipe in.
Can you put it so it might go to the street? Can you do that? Maybe that will help.
I don't know we can tie into the street. That's a whole.
No. Let her go on the street. If you have a pipe, right? If that's gonna solve the
I'm going to
problem
make a motion.
without any
and
problem.
See if anybody,
Before they make a motion, if you can just try to make them feel better, at least anyway, so they have if he recommended, they put a pipe right in that area, they go all the way straight.
direct the water out to the street.
Yes,
And
yes.
So
That will help a lot.
the engineers at my office are gonna tell me, well, if we're gonna be putting water out in the street, we need to get a permission from the DPW to do that.
it's a $500 bond, you pay it.
Yeah,
to
that
connect
is
the
true.
thing.
Well,
No, that is
I'm
true,
just
but
telling you.
it's gotta be a catch base someplace there, in that direction.
I don't
So if you have if there's a catch base, the DP will not,
they're not gonna stop you from tying.
yeah, it's not gonna stop you. But that's
I'm
gonna
not
solve, that's
saying
gonna
that it will stop
solve,
us.
you're gonna
I'm
have,
saying we need
you
to get
have
their permission.
two
Over there, you're right.
individuals that have property there, and they know this, they know the area more than I do, even though I know where they are.
I've been designing septic
Right,
systems
right.
in the neighborhood
So,
for 30 years, so I
It's
know
not,
it- I know
right,
what
so
like
it's
up
not too expensive to put a pipe,
No.
as you recommended.
No, I
Even
just-
though you have the swell, right? If you don't wanna go 2 feet because it's so close to the water, okay, make a 12 inch or 15 inches, okay, and then put a pipe right underneath there. And it goes right direct to the street, and everybody's happy.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that as long as we're not gonna have a
All right,
problem with
would
the
you
city,
be-
with the
Would you
town.
be kind enough, before we give you the motion?
Well, let's hear what
They
Kevin
send-
says for
they send-
his,
They send a letter to her that you say, I did this, okay? Because if you do forget, or you don't want to do it, when you come back the next time, the door will be locked.
let's hear what Kevin's motion is.
I'd like to make
Go ahead, Mary.
I'd like to
Yeah.
make a motion to approve the design with a 3-foot groundwater offset as opposed to a 2-foot, and drainage along the lot line shared with number 22 Westchester and connected to the town storm drain.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You put a pipe on it. Listen to me. He gave
Well,
you
he's
the
Well,
asking
no,
for
this,
3 feet,
that's,
not
Wait a
2
minute,
feet.
wait a minute.
you're talking about two different things. You're talking about putting a pipe in that's directing water towards the street, that's one thing, but connecting into the town drainage system, that's a whole other thing. That's a
But
construction project in its
even
own.
for the moment, put that. In the meantime, you have the time to build, and then you can get in touch with the DEP. The DEP will not say anything. They will give you the
DPW.
okay.
TBW.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what Jim has to say about the 3 foot.
He
Just-
doesn't say
He
anything.
didn't say nothing.
He
was fine with the 2 foot.
Fine with the 2 foot groundwater.
No,
offset.
no, I know that,
Yeah.
but, I mean, we've got some concerns here that we brought up, and
Well, we have it.
what I'm curious about is if we go up to the 3 foot separation, what that's gonna do to the surface drainage. And I agree with you, 2 foot's gonna be really tough out there, but on the other hand, I'm not sure how that's gonna affect surface drainage if it goes up another foot.
Well, if the drainage all goes to a drain,
Right,
then it goes.
right.
Again, we're not creating any new drainage here. We're not creating anything that isn't already there as far as runoff goes. I don't know where this idea is that we're all of a sudden creating new drainage out here that's gonna
No, but you're just
create new
improving,
water.
trying to improve
Trying to
the
improve.
area while you're.
We're trying to put a legal septic system in that isn't failing, that isn't in the water
Right,
table.
and improve the situation
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
abutters.
they're right.
I think everybody could agree
Yeah.
that if I could put this system in the ground,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be having this conversation about runoff. So it doesn't make any sense to me that going higher is somehow going to improve it.
No,
Well,
no,
the problem is the 2 foot separation with the water table coming up in the wetland there, that's the issue. So we're trying to resolve that.
you got 2 choices. Little pipe underneath there, or go 1 foot. You gotta make these people happy, because they live there.
Well, I don't know that just bringing this up to a 3-foot groundwater offset's going to satisfy
If we,
them. It's not going to do anything for the stormwater runoff.
if we
I
pass,
don't know what that
Well,
I'm not asking you what you
It's got the
recommend, I'm
2
only
parts
asking,
to it.
would it be appropriate for you to say yes, if you put a pipe underneath there and go to the street?
Again, I've worked in construction, driveways,
So,
swales.
you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know what you're talking about.
Okay,
It does not take a lot of pitch to move water down. So if you line it with stone, put a, silt barrier in, that water will find that pipe, it will go to the storm drain.
okay.
You are lucky it is on our side of the road. I
Okay.
have.
Can you do
First-
that, you know? You
Yeah,
can-
we can provide something like that. Like I said,
Just send up, just,
it's not my house. I
you
don't know
do
much about
that,
it.
and send a letter to the administrator,
So, the only
okay?
other, the only other 2 cents I will put in on this,
Yeah,
the only reason this system's getting done, I agree, it has failed. I'm not
I
against
understand.
someone making that house habitable.
right, right.
Eventually, if the right person or wrong person buys that house, they're gonna tear it down and build something else.
Well, then they have to
Can't worry
come,
about that, that's another down the road kind of thing.
they have to come back
They're
here,
gonna come back to you anyway.
I guarantee you they'll be seeing.
okay?
Yeah.
But for now, would you say, okay?
For now, if you could design a system.
Because we make the decision, but we just
Yeah.
want to make you guys happy to a point where we accommodate the
Right.
situation. All right.
Is the property
You made
gonna
them
be resurveyed?
Yeah,
So we know where we're talking 1 foot off the property line, so we
Yeah.
gotta make sure where the property lines are.
He will have a,
Yeah, well, it's required that the system and all the components get
because we know where
staked out.
his marker
the
is.
property line survey
Yeah,
is supposed to be
Okay,
done
you know
now
what
on
it is.
that.
Your
Should have been
system.
stamped
Well,
on
it's a big
this.
granite
Yeah,
post that they
yeah.
keep trying to
PLS.
chop
The
up.
property was surveyed previously by a previous surveyor. I
Right.
can provide a copy of that plan.
So let's see what happens. In the meantime,
There's a
Because I can
PLS
say
stamp
my
required on that.
Property line's here and they can say it's here, and we're only talking 1 foot.
right, right.
We better get it right.
He's going to do it right.
Okay.
Okay? The motion was made. I entertain a second. Anybody wants a second? We need a second?
Is there any way that we can make it so that Jim can, will Jim be reevaluating the
No,
changes
no,
at all?
I'm sorry to say this. Jim already agreed what he, as it was. We made a little exception. So I need a second. There's no more discussion because we're trying to make everybody happy.
But
So I mean, continue it and see what Jim comes back with.
because he'll have to approve
You already
any
made it.
changes to this, right?
It's not
Per-
going to make any changes.
I don't have any problem with the drainage going down the side. I
Yeah.
don't think, I'm not sure about raising it to 3 feet, though.
No, we don't have to raise it.
Well, I'm really concerned about the water table coming up and the water quality, but I'm also concerned about bringing it up another foot, what that's going to do to the abutters, and what there's a lot of things that go into that when you change.
There's a reason why the
Code.
state has allowed that.
Yeah, there's a
To
pro
get
and
a
a con.
2-foot groundwater offset. They believe this system acts as a sand filter sewage treatment system. And so when the sewage is leaving the sand bed that's in here, it's practically water at that point. Some people say they drink it. I wouldn't
You
drink
drink
it, but some people say they would. But the point is, it's a lot cleaner than what your traditional conventional system would provide.
We're trying to accommodate. So I
With
think,
2 feet.
I think it's
This way
easy.
without Jim looking at it, 'cause
Okay, the motion was made.
what's gonna happen.
I entertain a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve it with an adjustment to install drainage that discharges to the storm drain on the street,
Any
if that's
second?
possible.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Oh,
sir,
you forgot a post.
you promised that you're gonna send a letter to
Did you
the
say
lady.
aye, or is there a post?
I would almost prefer to show something right here on the plan, so
Yeah, do that, yeah.
that the installer knows what's going on.
Does this have to
That was
be,
for her motion.
So your motion is just,
Nobody agreed with it.
that was gonna raise it another foot. So we got the drainage in, we didn't raise it a foot.
the one on the other side is 5 feet high already, so.
Well,
How's that working out? I'm serious,
It's
like,
very bad,
yeah,
because now all that water is what comes into my yard.
right.
And he's putting a wall with a impervious barrier.
he's
So it's a
gonna,
Well, he's
balance-
proposing a,
balancing
1
that.
foot wide, 1 foot deep bunch of rocks to take the water out.
Well, we said 2 feet, didn't we? Didn't we say 2 feet?
says right there, if you read it, it's right there.
And the plans say 1 foot by 1 foot. You mentioned something about
You
2
said
foot
2,
by
yeah, my understanding was 2 foot, Gino, what you
2
were
foot deep
talking
instead of
about.
1 foot deep.
Yeah, if you can do that 2 feet, be better.
Are we talking about by the system?
Yeah, no,
Okay, well, if we go 2 feet deep,
No,
I'm just really concerned that everybody's gonna be.
You're
coming
in the
back.
groundwater.
That water table is gonna bubble up out of that
Yeah,
stone trench.
Probably 18 inches deep.
yeah.
It happens all the time when we go out and dig test holes. We dig a test hole,
No, I just,
8 feet deep, water starts bubbling in, next thing you know, it's bubbling out of the top, and you're like, well, it wasn't bubbling out of the top before.
That's the problem with the water, high level.
Right, right, and if you open up a spot
Let's
for
see
the
what
water to go
happens.
to, that's where it's gonna go.
And, you know, when you do that, the pipe, you just invite a neighbor, let them come and look at it.
yeah,
Make them feel better,
I
right?
I don't
Thank
think.
you.
Thank you. So,
Okay.
have one of those plans?
All right, make your friend feel better, will you?
It's right there.
Fine, just one's good.
You don't want that?
Thank you for coming. Thank you. We close the meeting for this particular 20 Westchester Drive, and I guess we go into what happened to the 119 Russell Street?
They walked out.
They walked out? What's the matter, they don't like us? Wow, how are we gonna give them the permit, they're walking out?
Nope. This is just a discussion.
It's just a discussion.
Just to listen to them, there's nothing for you to vote on.
Right.
Where are all the suits tonight?
Well,
Just you.
Both the president and the senior vice president hope to be here, but they're out of state at some banking.
Somewhere nice and warm,
function.
yeah.
So they
They're
trust,
here in spirit.
they are in spirit, they trust you too? Ooh,
I know.
wow.
Thank you for giving us some time on your agenda. We've got two issues we'd like to discuss with you. First of all, you'll recall we were in January. Board was kind enough to grant us a variance, a conditional variance, which set forth a very, you'll remember our plan. We're going to take the building, demo the building, and then increase it from 40,000 to 60,000. We have an existing system that will support the 40,000 square foot building. It passed Title V. It's great. And the deal was that we would build the building, occupy no more than 40,000 square feet, and wait for the ability to tie into sewer. And if in the next 2-3 plus years, when we needed to go from 40,000 to 60, the board had required that we would tie into sewer if it was available. And if it wasn't available, through no fault of ours, then we would design and approve through your board a new on-site system, including nitrogen reduction,
Right.
so that we could then occupy the 60 1,000 square feet.
Right.
One of your requirements for that was that we put an agreement in place, pretty much that outlined that whole plan between the Board of Health and Workers' Credit Union, Town Administrator. And then, after we left you guys, we went to the Planning Board and actually got a special permit for the Water Resource Protection Zone. They asked all about the variance from you guys and said they liked the idea of the agreement and they wanted to be a party to the agreement as well, so that they'd be assured that...
Make you feel better, isn't it?
You know, the more the merrier. We had no problem.
You made the board, make them happy a little bit, you know?
So I subsequently drafted an agreement, which I think I did a pretty good job of outlining that whole agreement with all the details and put all the players in. I forwarded it to your council in late January. Have not heard a word. I have called, I have written, I have emailed.
That's why you're here, right?
Well, it's one of two reasons.
Okay.
The first one is, I would please ask that perhaps if you guys pinged Attorney Heap and told him that this was important, maybe he would. I did hear from him last week. He apologized for a month of silence, said he was buried, you know, had a lot going on, and we would be getting back. He'd be getting back to me last week. Well, I've heard nothing. I've emailed. So my clients are really anxious.
I know
to
he
put
did
the-
talk with Jim last week.
What's that?
I know he was speaking with Jim last week.
Okay, great. Well, to the extent you feel you should or shouldn't, maybe give them a little nudge, we would appreciate it, because my clients really want to get that agreement in place so that we have satisfied all the requirements of our agreement with your board, as well as the planning board.
Who's
So
the,
that was one thing.
who's the manager of that, who manages that relationship with the
Town
with
council.
our town council?
Chairman?
Who's the point person?
He
Is it-
emailed me for some clarification, and I put him in touch with Jim to make sure that
But there must be somebody who can ask him.
selectmen.
The selectman. Okay, so it goes through the town administrator's office, probably. Yeah, so maybe we should ask Anthony.
Well, I appreciate that. Mr. Lockett from Workers' Credit Union has reached out to Anthony a couple of times.
And nothing happened. But anyway, we have a, can I read this? Would you be kind enough to,
Can I tell you my second reason for being here, and it might be related to what you're going to read? You'll recall that based on the variance we received here in the special permit, we applied for a demolition permit, and we got our demo permit, and we demoed everything. Then we applied for our building permit to start building. And Mr. Graffi has sent us a letter saying that he wouldn't sign off on the building permit till we've submitted for review and approval a new system for the site.
At its
Okay.
60,000 plus capacity.
Yeah, the
Right.
entire.
Right, but unless I misunderstood, the idea wasn't for us to get that system approved now, but only when we wanted to occupy the building. If we couldn't hook into sewer,
Right.
then we were gonna have to design and get that system approved and put it in before we could occupy from 40 to 60.
right, that,
And we don't expect that for like,
Right.
possibly even be faced with that for 3 years.
I understand that.
So the question I have for the board is,
Would you be
can we
kind,
get our building permit
can
signed now?
you be relaxed a little bit? Don't get
Yes,
excited.
I'm sorry,
Hey, take a
but
deep breath.
my clients, as you can imagine,
Even the gentleman in the
Really
back is
on
gonna
me.
help you breathe for you,
okay.
all right?
Do you
Have you
have
designed
some?
anything yet?
We have, so we've submitted to this board and to Mr. Gareffi, a design for 60,000 square foot system. It's an expansion of the existing system. We've also conducted soil testing to verify the Title V inspection was valid and that it is built to current Title V standards. It is, but it's not fully developed. It's not 100%, we're at like 75%.
Okay.
So we have the ability, we've proven the ability, we just haven't gone the entire.
Is there nitrogen aggregation in that?
There will be,
Okay.
as a part of it, but
Yeah.
we're fully conforming to Title V. We've essentially proven that,
Yeah.
just not to the construction level detail, if you will.
Okay,
that
what's
Mr.
what's
Graf-
holding that back?
the fact that we came to an agreement to connect to sewer and to not have workers go through the added expense of essentially developing and the final construction plans.
Mhm.
So you need the
Okay.
agreements,
Can I
you
read
need the
this?
agreement finalized, right?
Well,
Jim wants him to design a system that'll work.
two things. One, we want the agreement signed so that we're all working on the same thing. But again, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the fact that we weren't going to occupy the building for a number of years up to the 60,000, and that we were going to, in all likelihood, sign into sewer. In fact, we're willing to sign an
They would
agreement.
have to have the permit.
That we weren't going to have to
Before.
design and get that 60,000 square foot
So we
building
agreed with Jim.
design approved
Oh, I
now.
understand, yeah. But anyway, let me read this, okay?
Right.
Okay. Worker Credit Union is on the agenda for this meeting, but I'm not sure why they are meeting with you. Here's a summary of my previous comment for the site. Prior to endorsing a building permit for the new construction, and this is a new construction for the purpose of Title V property, property owner needs to obtain a permit for sewage disposal system that is in compliance with Title V and your regulation, which he's talking about our regulation, okay? In this case, the owner have not obtained a permit for compliance system, and I can endorse their building permit application, not recommend the board endorsement of the permit. Below, I have a previous provided the relevant section of Title V. Increase in design flow to system. No person shall increase the actual or design flow of any cesspool or to any other system above the existing approved capacity, and change the type of establishment of a facility served by a cesspool, unless the cesspool or system is upgraded first. Upgrade to accept increases design flow shall be performed in full compliance with the requirement applicable in new construction, unless a variance is allowed pursuant to 310 CNR 15.414 for purpose of 310 CMR 15.204. The approval design flow shall be the flow listed in the most recent disposal work construction permit. You got it?
So, just kind of in response to that, essentially your agreement is restricting that. We're not increasing flows whatsoever over the existing system, nor can we occupy any portion of the building over the 41,000 square feet that exists today. As soon as workers would like to go to 42,000 square feet or 40,100 square feet, they then have to have one of two things. We have to be connected into sewer, or we have to have our fully designed and approved septic system. So the methodology, the instrument is there to make sure that we are fully compliant.
In favor of.
So,
So
I'm sorry.
Janet,
I'm sorry.
what did you
So
have?
actually, what Janet is reminding us of is that we already have voted in favor of you designing a system for a 60,000 square foot building.
Should we not connect into sewer?
So that it's
Right.
there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think,
And then Jim can sign off on the permit, like he said in his letter.
but they have to submit a plan with that.
Right.
So I think what has to happen, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I wasn't at the last meeting, but I think we have to get the agreement in place so that we have that agreement, and then you submit a design, it has to be approved, and then he'll sign the building
Then we'll give you
permit.
the permit.
I think, that's the correct, right?
Yeah, but
So
that's not what, when we left here last, the agreement, the purpose of the agreement was so that you would have a written commitment from Workers' Credit Union that they will tie into your sewer before they occupy
Yeah,
anything.
and that's fine, but we still need to approve a plan for you to construct the building.
I think
The building.
wasn't it stated a mutually agreed
Why?
upon acceptable plan with nitrogen aggregation? Wasn't that part of the motion?
Yes, but you voted that the permit be in place, even if it's not actually built.
Build.
I didn't think we had any choice on that matter.
You don't.
And maybe that's a question for town council, because I know we want to work with this group.
Well,
So we might want to ask town
I
council
don't think
if,
we need the town
They
council.
are.
Well, let me ask you a question.
They've already looked at it?
It's a fail-safe.
tying into...
It's the fail-safe
Fail-safe.
of the Board of Health, just like you're having the fail-safe.
I understand it's a fail-safe, but I think you're already protected, because if we build this building and we occupy the 40,000 square feet, which we're allowed to do now, based on the system we already have in place, if when we want to occupy the additional space,
Right.
if we can't hook into sewer,
Then you built your own.
then we're going to build our own.
And then you get the permit, and then you get the,
No, they have to get the permit
Oh.
first, because it could be a completely different board.
yeah.
Can I,
Am
are
I
you,
missing something?
Yeah.
The point was, if we were going to go, if Workers' Credit Union was going to go through the expense and time and expense of designing this new system, which they've already actually done partially. Remember, there's a nitrogen reduction section that has got to be custom designed, right? We can't just pull
Right.
an off-the-shelf, won't work. We're going to have Dave Morado, who's been here with us. He's the expert. He's going to design, he would design that. But if Workers' Credit Union is going to go through all that cost and expense to design that, get it approved, from a cost perspective, they're better off just putting it in the ground now and being done, right? Then we can occupy the 60,000 square feet whenever we want.
Mhm.
And that's what sort of the normal process is, right? You get your
Correct.
system approved, you get your building permit, you build everything, and you occupy.
Right.
But remember, we've been asked, or we're going to be required, I'm told, to hook into the sewer. So, you know, that's why workers said, okay, we'll agree to be your first sewer person, we'll agree to sign into your sewer, but we're not going to go design and build this other system and then turn around and hook into your sewer. That's...
So I think the critical piece is the fact that it's already covered in the sense that they cannot occupy over 41,000 square feet, period.
Right.
The fact that Workers has a comfort level that they understand they could go in one of two directions, either connect to sewer if it's available.
If it's available.
And would be required, or they have a level of comfort that we would be able to
Right.
design a system.
Right.
So do you have a system designed with no variances that you know for sure that this board is?
So we have the variance though.
Yeah, you guys gave us the
We have the variance.
And no other
Or-
variances beyond that
No
one?
other variances, correct. Well, and we don't have it fully designed,
Mhm.
but we have the level of comfort to know that we can get
Right,
there.
right.
Okay.
And-
but we
and the
can't, we
key
can't
point-
issue a variance unless you submit the plan. So you'd have to, is there really a variance on,
Regulation 10.
Regulation. It's a
You
law.
agreed to give a variance on, I'll have to look at the wording,
Yeah,
on the
that was-
permit,
that
but
was
we
part of
haven't,
the-
we don't have the permit yet.
right, so we have to have, the way it works is you have to design a system, you bring it in, Jim looks at it, we approve it, and that's probably all going to happen. It just needs to happen for him to sign the building permit.
Right, but when we left here in January, we weren't gonna have, we didn't have to design this system because we have a system now that
So
passed
you're not
Title
going to build a
V.
new system?
No, the
No,
agreement is
they're
that.
gonna go-
There's a
plan.
system in place today.
Now.
There's already a system in the ground.
Right,
That fits 40,000 square foot building,
Yeah.
which is what we have today.
okay.
But if they go to
We're
60,000,
gonna,
they-
we
But if the
demoed that
sewer's not
building,
there,
and we're going up to 60,000. However,
plan.
your variance requires that we cannot occupy more than 40,000 square feet
otherwise they have to...
because we're going to be operating with the existing system.
You're going to be operating with the existing system. You are not going to be building a new system.
No.
Is your
That's
new
the point.
building?
No.
If and when they want to expand from 40,000
I'm
to
just talking
60,000.
about what's going on right now.
Right now,
That's all I...
right now, we have a 40,000 square foot
They can
building
use it.
with an acceptable Title
Okay.
V passing system. We want to, essentially, they're going to add 20,000 square feet onto the building. We're going to move in to only 40,000 square feet and use the system we have.
Oh, you're not building anything new?
Yes,
so
we are.
what's the
They are
problem?
later.
We're expanding the building. We're
They're
not going to
expanding.
occupy it. We're not
So
going
you
to
just
finish
need the
it.
agreement, you don't need,
Yes,
oh,
right. Well,
Why not?
again, what
You
the,
already voted that they need to have the permit,
No, the permit or the agreement?
the septic permit.
Do we have the
We
vote?
already voted. You
See,
wouldn't
the
mind.
deal was,
I see your point.
by promising.
No, I understand now.
By promising to hook to the sewer, you guys were gonna allow, or the town.
why would they wanna
was gonna allow us to
design-
occupy 40,000 square feet of the renovated building. We're gonna essentially leave 20,000 unfinished. Workers doesn't need the space right now. In
So-
fact, they're saying
I mean-
that it might be 3 to 5
I mean,
years.
I'll stand by that.
You can't make a decision.
That was the
tonight
deal.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's only a
So
decision.
why would we be requiring them to
So we're
give us a
wasting
design
time.
for something they're not gonna build until they go to
Okay,
60?
let me explain something.
That's
So-
exactly.
May I-
Because
may I
they wanna
explain
build to
something?
60.
Yeah.
The question is, they were trying to get it connected with the sewage, but the question is, the sewage is not being approved by the people in Littleton yet. The people in Littleton, when they go to the town meeting, they might say no. They might say they postpone it till November. In the meantime, they can use their system for 40,000 square feet. And then, if the system that the sewage is not being approved and not being built in 3 or 4 years, we made a deal with them, they're gonna have to build their own system.
Yeah, and everybody's good with
You
that.
understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So
And
the
that's how
question
it's,
is,
that's
why
how
have
it's
that-
set.
What we're trying to do is get them through so
No,
they
I
can,
know what you're saying, honey.
they're
but
built, and so
The
it's
question-
not about that. The agreement, we need to push
The question
through
is, they
the...
can do now, with no permit, they can use the system they have already. So they can build
Okay, you just,
40,000.
so why is Jim not signing then?
Because
I
is your
don't-
building,
Because
is
he
your
wants a
building
system, he wants
permit
to
for
see a system.
60,000
They wanna see
square
a
feet?
system for
That's why
60,000.
he's not
Why?
signing it.
He wants to
because
see
your
a
building
system
permit
for
says
60,000.
60,000.
Right.
So you
No,
need to
right.
have a
They
system
might not even
designed
need
for
it.
60,000 if you want his signature.
Well, except I don't think he's understanding of
Then
the agreement.
that we
No,
made.
Yes, he is. He still wants.
No occupancy over the 40.
We can't do anything.
Is
over
anything-
He might not
Can
be
you
able to
explain
sign,
it
it might,
to
see, I
Jimmy?
think the agreement might be
He
the
understands it.
same.
He's not going to okay a building for 60,000, even if you're saying I'm only going to use a portion.
He won't agree to the
Even though he
agreement,
can
is
use
that
the
what you're
portion,
saying?
even though he can use the portion for 40,000 square feet?
You already voted that you would, that he would have to have the design, and that's what he's
I
upset,
see.
that's what he's
Can we
Anyway,
change that vote?
you can
No,
make it.
wait, we.
Not
your
here,
vote
this
was
is a
that we would have to
discussion. It
provide
shouldn't
you
even
the
be going this
design
long.
at the
To
point
occupy.
where we want to
I
occupy
let you
more,
make-
and if,
okay.
only if sewer's
Can't
not
make a
available.
motion, this is just a discussion.
You are correct. And for some reason, we made the decision, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but we have to wait for his decision. So is there any way we can compromise the situation?
So
We can
no.
get the thing done,
Can't do any,
please?
I'd like to
We
make.
can't
I'm
do
sorry.
anything tonight.
can't make
No,
a discussion.
I know. I'm not saying anything, board. I'm only trying to have a conversation. You understand what we're trying to do? If you have the design, okay, then you present it to administrator. Jimmy will look at it and they says, okay, now give him the permit. I'm sorry that, we made a deal. We have an obstacle.
So let me ask you a question. If my client's now forced to spend the additional money to have this system designed and approved by Jim, right?
Right.
Many thousands of dollars. We're talking about a very specialized nitrogen, custom designed nitrogen reduction system.
That's too bad.
And a system that you're gonna approve, he's theoretically gonna approve this in 2019, okay? And then in 2022 or 2023, when Workers' Credit Union wants to go up to the 60,000 square feet,
Right.
if sewer's available, we're tying into sewer. If sewer's not available, am I gonna be able to rely on this system that you've approved in 2019 to build it in 2023?
So I'd like to talk to
Yeah,
Jim and
why
get
not?
some clarification.
What if the
and,
law changes? What if?
See
We already
what-
talked.
I
think you're
We
grandfathered.
already talked to him.
I don't know, I think it's 2 years on the
I
permit.
guess
And you have to
it seemed to me
refile.
that the reason we were signing the agreement committing to tie into sewer when the time came that we needed to expand into the 60,000
right.
was because the town really wanted workers to commit to the sewer system.
So if, I
And
don't
we
know,
did.
I know we can't have a vote, but
Now we're
I'm
gonna
just
spend the money
wondering
to
if
design it
the
anyway.
board,
Why don't you take it off your tie-in fee?
What's that?
Put it in your deal and take it off your tie-in fee.
Well, that's the other thing. We can't get the details of the agreement done because I've been sitting on my hands for 6 weeks,
I-
7
Can I
weeks.
just
For
make a
attorney Healy?
suggestion? So I'd like to see if
sorry.
what the board has to say, or what people's thoughts, the board's thoughts are. and trying to get the requirement out of the agreement that the design has to be submitted. If we have an agreement of how they're gonna go forward, I don't see the reason they have to submit a design at this point for 60,000.
Well,
Because he's right, we don't know what that system's gonna look like.
That is true. But
Did you-
I think we're gonna see if we can talk to Jim and
Louise, what do you
I
think
know
of
what
that?
you're saying. I know what you're
I think
saying.
so.
I think they have to have a system
Right,
They have
designed
a
for
system in-
60,000 square feet,
Yeah.
because that's what their permit is for.
yeah.
But
But
The
the question,
permit's gonna be for 40,000.
No,
No.
it's not.
No.
The building permit.
you
We've
already
already
have
got a
the 40.
40,000. They're all
Why
set.
can't we give them a permit for 40,000 now?
They already
With
have
the
it.
agreement that
They
they're
don't
gonna
need the
approve
permit.
this.
No, we have a
The
system.
building is
For
for
40,000,
60.
it's in the ground.
So why are we even bothering with this? Why, if we have the agreement, couldn't the agreement take the place of upgrading the system right now?
The question is,
Because they're not gonna build, whatever they design, they're probably not gonna build.
that's the problem, see, the sewage came first.
I think it
and
needs to be.
They talked them to the sewage, I was
Well, we don't have the sewage system.
in place yet.
It's not in place yet, so it's not a definite thing, so you have to have something for a building permit.
Can't we just say that they
At
have
least they have the
to get an
design.
approved plan at that point? And that plan will show either connection to the sewer or,
Jim says he won't sign it.
well, have we talked directly to him with that?
I can talk to him, but
I can talk to him too.
I talked to him last time, but he says
I can see their point, because they're gonna be spending a lot of money on design. that
what do you
they
have?
probably-
I could read you your motion. This is from your minutes. Baker made a motion to grant the variance of Regulation 10, subject to the applicant, one,
Burden up other people.
occupying only 44,000 square feet. That's the current building size.
right,
Our
right.
current system is sized and working at that level, it's 44,000. Two, signing an agreement with the town to connect town sewer once it's installed, okay? And that agreement's gonna be subject to the approval of town council, us, town officials, and the health agent.
Right.
Three, providing an acceptable nitrogen aggregation plan to utilize should town sewer not be installed.
Correct.
Or implementing a maintenance plan, and five, executing an agreement signed by the town.
So there's no date on when that nitrogen aggregation plan has to be submitted, it just says it's gotta be done.
Right, but
Should
it's,
sewer not be.
It
But
doesn't
it's-
specifically say a design.
no,
No, it just says nitrogen aggregate.
it says
So
an
you can have a-
acceptable nitrogen reduction
Maybe
plan.
we can come to an agreement with Jim where it's not a full design, it's just a plan, a conceptual plan.
You probably have that already.
Well, that's what he
You got
has.
that already,
Yeah,
right?
you've got that.
He has that.
has it?
He has our septic design.
Okay, so we just
For
need to,
60,000 square
For
feet.
60,000
you need to
square feet,
figure
it's
out how to
just
get
not-
through that hurdle.
It's just
Just
not
not what?
complete. It doesn't
It's not
have the
complete. It
detailed
doesn't,
nitrogen.
it doesn't have the nitrogen aggregation piece. It
Okay.
doesn't have the nitrogen, enhanced nitrogen treatment. And that's the tens of thousands of dollars of design work that
Right.
we don't want work.
Okay,
So
but
you
yes-
know it'll fit in a box,
We, exactly.
and you're gonna put the box on the plan,
Well, he has that.
so just tell him it'll be acceptable.
Okay,
Well, we have to,
Have you
Well, then
spoken to
maybe,
Mr. Graffi?
Mr. Chairman, maybe we have given Mr. Graffi enough of a plan that,
Right.
Yeah.
given all of our other agreements,
Right.
might be acceptable.
You never know, can you just write a note, give it to her, and I'll have a meeting with Jimmy?
I'll give him a call too.
I think the conceptual without all the finer intricacies of the nitrogen
But
aggregation.
Jim has to agree with you.
Right,
so
if
we
he
just-
agrees,
We're,
yeah.
we're gonna talk to Jim and try to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason, and again, I really appreciate you guys taking us in at the last minute like this. The reason we're here, unfortunately, Workers has completed
Yeah, no, I
the
know.
demolition.
Mm.
And so
I
literally
see
the
it.
contractors are now
Yeah.
sitting there.
I know.
Mhm.
And then we need to get the,
Right.
the agreement through
We
town
have to-
council.
And yeah, we gotta get, I just don't know what to do.
So I can give Anthony a call. You want me to do that?
Honey.
Yeah.
I told you, I'm sorry to call you honey, but you're a nice lady, and I will talk
No,
to
you,
Jimmy.
it's fine.
I'll talk to Jimmy tomorrow, and he's gonna be in the
Yeah, maybe
office.
she was talking
I'm
about
gonna ca-
Anthony
I'm
Town.
gonna call first. He might expect
call
me
him.
to, he might expect me to call him, because I already have arrangement with him.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna say, can I have Anthony involved to get our attorney? So between three of them, and myself there, and if I need any help, all of you are welcome, no problem,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make that contact. I'm sorry that you have to
No,
come.
we
sorry about
appreciate
that.
your help.
I didn't understand the problem in the beginning. I got it now.
It's a little.
No, it's
there's a lot
not.
of
It's pretty
moving
direct,
pieces.
actually.
And have you heard anything about the sewer? Is it moving forward? Town meeting's coming up, right?
May 6th, the town meeting, I will speak at the town meeting about the sewerage, okay? Okay, the question is, I can say, yes, I'm in favor, but the question is, the town meeting is gonna be full, and they have different projects. So every project, it's a lot of moolah, a lot of money.
Right,
So the
library.
people are gonna say, my tax is gonna go up. So they're gonna say, we approve this subject, will not approve that particular project, and they're gonna have to make up their mind, because I'm gonna say, I live here for 36 years. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, Gino, the taxes keep going up. We just can't afford it.
Yeah.
It might be probably that you might have to build your own. You know what I'm saying? You
We're
never
willing
know.
to do that. I mean, workers will do a whole new system, but actually workers kind of like the idea that it could potentially be your first big
Yeah.
commercial
Of
tying
course.
in. You know, they want to be part of the community.
Yes.
So we thought it was
We
great
like-
that we
would
were
be
going to
great, yeah.
We
tie
like
into
it.
sewer.
No, we'll try to help you.
And the
I'm sorry.
timing looks good, right? Because they
By the
may
time the
not
building
need it
is
for
done.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think
anyways, well, thank you. We appreciate your help.
Yeah, I think you guys have the board's support, and I think the board supports the
And
town
obviously, we'll do
sewer.
whatever else you need to get to
I'm
us.
Well, I think it's all enough.
I'm gonna get in touch with him too, okay? You just give me your telephone number and everything.
She has all my
Right,
contact
she got it, right?
information.
All right,
Feel
all
free
right.
to give
So,
me a call.
give me, I see him on a Tuesday. Am I correct, the Tuesday, or when he comes?
Tuesday, yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
all right.
Thanks
for coming in.
Nice night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Close the meeting of discussion. Oh, my God. What a discussion. Open one for Cooper Farm. Oh, we're gonna have another problem. Oh, yeah.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
You feel okay?
I'm great. Getting ready to go to hockey tonight.
Oh, you are? What time?
I have got to leave by 8:30.
Okay, we gave you 5 minutes.
I'm good. I
Okay.
think this is very easy,
What would you like?
clerical.
What do you like to?
I would like my permit released on lot
Oh,
25, Cooper Farm.
oh.
You want to read Jim? Want me to
Why
read Jim?
you here?
Huh?
Why you here?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's here. We have 25 lots approved and,
Did you change it from over 55 to not?
no. No.
Permit 25 with the
Isn't this a
condition?
discussion? It's a discussion.
Oh, boy.
Well, the permit's here to be executed.
No, it's not. I don't have it.
Jim said he was,
Okay, let me read it to
You
you,
told me
okay?
today you didn't have one.
I don't want you to be upset when you...
I have an email that said he was bringing it for tonight's meeting to be executed.
Okay, you have it with you?
I don't have it.
Okay, let me read to you, okay?
Yep.
I have reviewed the proposal changes to the development, provided the applicant will comment on the chart on changes necessary to revise the permit for the development. I have received and revised the engineer plan, and I haven't received the necessary changes to the legal document as the writing of this comment. The changes will remain the sewage flow for the development below 1,000 gallons.
10,000.
I'm sorry, you're correct. I see, I counted 0. All right, my glass is a little bit dirty. Okay, 10,000 gallons a day require the additional of a small amount of sewer line. If the board is comfortable with the process in moving forward, I don't have a problem endorsing the building permit for 25 with a condition. No certificate of compliance for this lot will be issued until a new permit is approved. All amendments to the legal document are recorded, and the Board of Health will not endorse building permit application for lots which were not part of the original approval septic system for the site. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. So, actually, if you don't have the permit,
Good talk.
you come tomorrow. He says he gave it to you, he's gonna be okay, but,
Does the board want me to discuss why we're at this position? or
go
not?
ahead, discuss it. You got
So-
another 10 minutes.
We are approved for 25 single-family lots and 20 55 and overs.
Yes.
We got snagged through the DEP with the regulation under Title V that you cannot have a system larger than 10,000 gallons.
Okay.
So that decreased our lot count from
Right.
25 to 23,
I see.
and from 20 to 16, which put us at 9,980 gallons.
Okay.
So, in our original thinking of it, we were not going to build on lot 25, which we are going to build on lot 25. We're actually decreasing the amount of lots nearer the wetland area. So we're
Okay.
combining lots 12 and 13, and we're not building on lot 20, which is down at the very end of the cul-de-sac,
Okay.
next door to the infiltration basins.
There's water left out.
No, there's no water issues at all.
Okay.
So we've just reconfigured where we're building. With lot 12, we had a long discussion with conservation, which we got an approval for lot 12.
Yeah.
But the house would be, it would infringe or come close to the 50-foot offset, which
Yeah.
the conservation wanted to have us adhere to. So we're combining lots 12 and 13, putting the house on 13, and making a better lot. No,
Did you speak to Jim? about
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Jim has got all the documentation
Okay.
from our engineer
Okay.
and our attorney with the recordings of everything done.
So we don't have a permit, so the permit might come maybe this week. Am I correct? Maybe.
I won't see him till Tuesday.
Okay.
He's back in the office on Tuesday.
He'll be in on Thursday.
Oh, right, Thursday, I'm sorry. I'm thinking
Yeah.
today's Thursday.
Yeah.
He'll be
So
in on
You
Thursday.
can come a couple of days.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, you want to go see the game?
No, I'm playing.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm
Okay.
actually playing.
Okay, you better go then.
So is anybody good? Do you have any questions or concerns? Or?
No. Thank you. Enjoy yourself.
I will.
Just don't
Thank
hurt
you.
yourself. Don't hurt yourself.
Huh?
Don't hurt yourself.
I do every week. I do every week.
We open the meeting and we close the meeting now. Okay.
Thank you for your
Close the
time.
discussion.
You're
Night,
welcome.
have fun.
So we're all set. So Thursday we'll get it. Wonderful. You guys
Did you
are
write
great.
your name down there?
I have one other question.
Yes,
on,
you
on
write
that Westchester. Have you thought of like we did on Oak Road, where we had to do the offset to groundwater
Yeah.
with
Can we-
an infiltration?
Can we
Can we
talk
talk
about
about
It's
this?
been closed.
Oh, you can't talk about it?
No.
No,
No,
Oh.
discussion's been closed.
But
The
I'm
public-
interested in hearing what you have to say.
one-on-one.
Comments.
Yeah.
You can call me. We had a good solution to that water.
Okay.
So.
Maybe you should contact them.
Huh?
Maybe you should
I
contact
talked to
them.
Wayne about it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think he'd be interested in it.
Take it easy.
Yep.
All right. Do we have
It's
any-
ridiculous that we can't talk about it here, but I can talk about it in Dartmouth.
Yeah, correct. Okay, tobacco regulation
But now
changes.
the three of us
Are
are
you the
together.
tobacco lady?
I am the tobacco
Whoa.
lady. How are you?
Join
Are you a
us.
troublemaker?
No.
I try not to be,
Oh,
but
okay.
I've been known to. Do you mind if I borrow a pen? I dropped
Okay,
mine in
you
the
can
house.
borrow
I think I
mine.
dropped it in the-
Oh, you gotta look at that pen, huh?
Oh, does it have a
thing.
I thought I had more pen than you. Look,
Yeah, I
look
should
how many you got.
extra.
I only got few. I got another couple here.
So, when I came in December,
Yep.
we were working on, I presented a draft. It was a color-coded draft to everybody. And at the time, there wasn't enough time to make all the changes, so we just did the 21. So this is just getting back to other components of the regulation to upgrade your reg to be similar to people, you know, that are in the Neshoba area that have already passed regs. And some of those components were a blunt wrap restriction, so you'd have, no one could sell blunt wraps. Flavor restriction, so candy and fruit flavored vape and tobacco products would only be sold in an adult-only establishment.
Do we
and
have to include those at all?
You wanted to include them. So these are all the things that you can add to your regs that you don't have.
So we wanted to include flavored vape oils?
I'm sorry?
We wanted to include flavored,
You guys hadn't discussed it
Oh,
yet.
okay, well, what it is right now, everybody's selling them. You would restrict them to an adult-only establishment.
yeah, I'm wondering if we can get rid of them altogether. Restrict them in all establishments.
No, Google Westminster Board of Health, who tried to prohibit products, and it was a disastrous nightmare.
Okay.
We had,
Somebody sue you?
we had ABC, CBS, CNN, we had New York affiliates here, we had people
Well-
from other countries here, and it was a hearing around the world that we can't ban products, we can restrict products, but we can
Yeah.
ban a blunt wrap.
Yeah.
And a blunt wrap is the wrap that everybody uses to put their tobacco in, and it's a tobacco cigar wrap. Because what happened is when they had the blunt cigars, kids started cutting them open and dumping the cigar out
Oh
and
my
using
God.
the nicotine paper to get high, to get
Yeah.
high with. So police departments, everybody supports that. It's very common. All the things that we're asking you to do are pretty common, and
Increase the age, right?
you already did
We
that,
already
though.
did that.
So,
That's it. That's all we can
this is a list of all the towns that have these policies.
Yeah, I'm
So-
just wondering if we can make them even more restrictive.
Yes, this will give you the most restrictive reg you can have.
Okay,
You
thank
already did 21.
Yep.
The only other thing is right now, there's one more reg that they just did.
You got one of those
Yes.
for me?
Yep, I do. I have
One
one
for
of
her?
these. Well, I had a color-coded reg. I just read it real quick for everybody, because this one includes, you did 21.
I don't
so
need
the-
one, I'm all set.
Okay.
Oh, you got
so
one
You
already.
have one?
Yeah, I think I
If
read
it's
this
the most
before,
restrictive we
but-
can have, that's good.
I might have one, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, well, I give everybody one, because what had happened is the old one gave you the choice of 18 to 21. You already did 21, so I quickly updated this one. And then I'll have,
We did 18, right?
It's 2018.
no,
right?
you did 21.
We did
You
21,
went
that's
straight
right.
to 21.
That's the
Oh,
new
that's what
job.
I
Yeah,
missed,
this
I'm
is the
sorry.
new one.
21
This is
without
the new
a
one.
grandfather.
Last time,
So
last,
Right.
Okay,
it's all color-coded for you. So everything in blue is new, everything in black you already have.
okay.
and you were here
Yeah, we'll
last
take
time,
one.
right?
I'm sorry?
You were here in December?
I was here, yep,
Yeah, I
and then,
remember that.
Is there anything in here about marijuana?
no.
Or that
except-
can be-
No, except for what happens is when you do smoking policies, right, when you do a smoking policy that says that you can't smoke or vape anywhere, it includes marijuana smoking.
Okay.
But we can't
That
mix
makes-
tobacco and marijuana.
that makes sense then. Okay.
And right now, you gotta wait for the Cannabis Control Commission to tell, like, what the boards can regulate above and beyond. And there is a draft reg from Mass Municipal, and I can send it.
What I'm concerned is what's gonna be next? They're smoking now, regular cigarette, they're smoking, they're puffing, they're whatever they call it, right?
Vaping.
Vaping.
Yeah, what's gonna be next? They're gonna allow cocaine, they're gonna, all the other stuff that
Well,
people are dying?
vaping, they don't allow that, but what happens now with vaping devices, any drug that can be liquefied can be added into your vaping
can't
devices.
believe
So
that.
that's, people can just legitimately use drugs through a legal vaping device, and you don't know unless you have reason to confiscate it and have it tested, and,
You know how many
that type of
people
things.
die for the drugs and everything? A
yeah.
lot of people die.
Yeah, I'm working with all the schools right now on vaping stuff, and I brought a bunch of vaping
Yeah.
education materials that we're distributing with the schools, and we're getting out to parents,
First was
for her to
opiates,
have in the office too,
First
just,
was opiates, and now it's this. What's gonna be next?
I don't
Well,
know.
people aren't really dying from nicotine,
Well,
Well, we have
Like-
lung
Wait a minute,
cancer.
wait a minute.
like opioids.
yeah, well, smoking still remains your number one
I lost a friend, 52
cause of
years
preventable
old,
death.
smoking.
Is it really?
Still, smoking and tobacco-related deaths is still the number one cause of preventable deaths.
Not, that's amazing.
Yep.
I never would have thought
Opiates
that.
haven't taken, they're getting up there, but they haven't taken it.
Not alcohol.
Do we need to make a motion on this, Janet?
Well, what it is you
We're in a
wouldn't be
discussion.
making a motion to pass it, you'd be making a motion to agree to hold a public hearing, and then I would notify all your merchants, we'd hold a
Yeah,
public
yeah.
hearing,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
gets to give input, people can, if they can't come to the meeting, they'd write a letter. We've always done a public hearing, and what would happen is, I would just quickly go over the sections with you and say, do you want to include this in your draft? And if you agree tonight that you want to hold a public hearing, do you
We
guys
could.
meet every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You would meet a month from now, because that would give me proper time to notify,
Yeah.
put it in the paper, get people
We can
to
do that, yeah.
come. On these types of issues, we don't usually have a lot of people come to hearings, it will probably be a short hearing, but we still prepare, and what I do is I hand deliver the legal notice about the hearing, and I hand deliver this regulation to every owner and manager, and they sign they received it, so they can talk to me, I can prepare
Oh,
for the
that's
hearing,
nice.
and I can kind of tell you who might come, who might not come,
Yeah.
who supports it, who doesn't, and then I can prepare if we need to have people in the community. There's a woman, Tina Grzowski, who's the community partnership that does education, so she would look for people in the town. Westminster just held a hearing and passed this exact upgrade, and she had the principal and the vice principal there, and they really gave a lot of insight to what is actually going on with the kids and in the community, even more than I had. So,
You have a telephone number?
do I have a telephone number? Yep.
Yeah, would you like me to give it to the superintendent of the school as a friend?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I
Would
could.
that be April 8th for the meeting?
And maybe it'd be a good idea if you speak at the school.
I'm actually not going to be here
Yes.
April 8th, which is
Like
okay, but
Both
I
Tina
want
and
to make sure that's
I
not a
work with
problem.
schools on policy and she
Nine.
works with them on education.
Oh, the 9th, that's what I
What
meant, I'm
about
sorry.
going
I won't
media?
be here
You
the
like to
9th
go in
either.
Or we can do it the
Tell a
23rd.
story?
I can go on TV and tell a
Okay,
story.
Yeah, I don't feel like I need to be there, but if I do need to be there, then I'm more than happy we can do it, but I'm gonna be
Yeah,
out of
we can
town
do it the
anyway.
second weekend in April too. It doesn't have to be, but
It's the
again,
9th or the 23rd.
you just, as a board member, if they hold the hearing, you would just have to make sure that you read all the minutes, and if anybody submits anything in writing, you would review it before you vote on it. You can
Yeah,
still
yeah.
vote on it, even if you're not
If
at
we
the
could do it
public.
the 23rd, that would probably be better. Mine's.
I didn't bring a business card, so I'm embarrassed to have to
That's-
just give you
that's
this,
all
but.
That's going to be in April, right, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Public hearing?
Okay, so April 23rd?
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to briefly tell you, I know, I didn't go over a lot of it because we just needed to get the 21 done. But I did, if you go through the color-coded draft, the first one I gave you had notes from me on it, but I have the updated municipal lists that show you everybody. That, I've given you these lists before, but they've even been updated more, and actually this week, 6 more communities passed this draft. So, it's not, this is an ongoing, it's updated, they update this quarterly, it would be, you're including a new definition of tobacco, and there's one massive definition of tobacco, includes vape, includes anything that goes in your mouth that you inhale, exhale, has tobacco content, has nicotine content, includes even the vape that has no nicotine in it, if it's water vape, so it's basically anything that inhales, exhales,
That's no good for
gets
your body.
ingested. So there's a significant definition. The definition was a short one, now it's a long one. That's the one that the new state law that went into effect January 1st is using as well. Requiring a cessation sign is a low-level thing. Everybody does it. We give the sign to the store for free, including the minimum cigar pricing. This is really key. Kids pool lunch money. What you're going to be doing is saying any 2-pack or more of tobacco now needs to be $5 instead of 2 for $99. Any single cigar, the minimum price is $2.50. They can charge more, but they can't charge less than. So it prevents somebody pooling their lunch money and going and getting, 4 cigar blunt wraps for 2 for 99 cents. So cigar pricing is a really big one. Capping your permits, that would be something that you need to read and understand. What I say is include everything in your public hearing, read it before the public hearing. We can get your questions answered. I have an attorney, DJ Wilson from Mass Municipal, that comes, so he can answer any technical legal question. And Littleton pays dues to Mass Municipal, so he's a resource available to the town. He's available to the selectmen, he's available to the town manager, he's available to the Board of Health. He specifically works on the tobacco issues. Mass Municipal has multiple lawyers for different issues, but he's been working since 1998 solely on tobacco issues. So he has all the legalities, so if a technical question came up, he'd be right here to answer it for the board.
Very nice.
No sales within 500 feet of a school you have, and I accidentally made that in blue, but the new thing now is no new permits near 500 feet near, or 200 feet, or 15 feet, because it's a density reduction thing, so if somebody tries to open up next to a retail store, they have to be 500 feet away or whatever, and it helps with density. And it helps with like all these vaping shops that are popping up, because a vaping shop is still permitted just like a regular tobacco permit. But if you do a cap, there's 2 caps. You just pick, we usually say if you're doing the general cap and you have 10 locations, pick a cap of 11 or 12 to allow a little growth so you don't have problems with other departments that you're stunting growth. But then there's also what we call a retiring cap, and many more communities have a retiring cap. So I did give you a sheet on how many towns have caps, and you'll see with an asterisk. A retiring cap is if you have 10 places and somebody goes completely out of business, that one gets retired. However, if I'm in business and I sell my business, that one's still an allowable permitted place. So that reduces your numbers probably better than doing a 500 feet from somebody.
I'm sorry, do we, in the regulation that you're suggesting, does it have the 500 feet in it from a school?
Yes, it does.
And what's the
Your
cap?
current reg has 500 feet from a school too,
And
so you
what's-
already have that in your reg.
Okay, and then what's the cap?
The cap is if you have
How
10
many you can
retailers, you could do it, nobody more than ever 10. You have a waiting list.
But do we
Or
know
you
what
could do
our
a retiring
cap is?
cap where you,
Do we have that already in place?
no, you don't have capping. Capping, you don't
Oh,
have.
so
to.
it's in blue, okay.
Yeah, everything in blue is new, except for I just realized I accidentally highlighted 500 feet from a school. So that's the only one that you do already have. The one I gave you in December has it in black.
So what number would we put in if we we're going to put a cap in?
How many do we have already?
Yeah, I think you have, what do we have, 9? 9 permits in little,
9 or
thing?
10,
8 or
yeah.
9, yeah, 9 or 10.
Can we just cap it where it is now?
Yeah, you could cap it where it is now, and then, but some, like, in Athol, they capped it at 17, and then all of a sudden they got down to 9, and then they reduced their cap because they didn't want all of a sudden 9 new vape shops come in, just by the nature of certain things going on. So you can do that, or you can do the retiring cap. Both languages are in there, so you would just need to read, because after the hearing, you'd have to choose, do we want a cap, and if we do we want a retiring cap or a regular one?
Okay.
Because you're not making any decisions on anything now. You're just deciding, do you want these things in your draft?
So we have to make the decision before.
I'm just telling you what they are, and then you would just vote, yes, we're going to use this draft to present to the public for the public hearing.
Okay.
Or you could say,
Now you have 9, right?
I think we have 9 or 10. I do this for 27 communities, but I looked it up, and I think we had 9.
Can we stop?
We had 10, and somebody
dropped out.
Somebody dropped out.
Yes.
Can we just keep in
CVS.
mind, can we just say
CVS?
enough is 9?
Yeah.
You want something,
Yeah.
go, take a walk
Yep.
and
And
get
then the
it.
retiring cap is when if somebody drops out, it doesn't get renewed?
Right. If somebody sells their business, like, you know, I'm
It's like a-
I'm
it's like a-
I'm a golf, and now I'm going to be a mobile. That permit
It's like
can
a-
go with them. But if somebody
Like a
says,
liquor
listen,
license
you have,
goes along with the company.
yes, somebody says, I'm going to go out of business, and that building's empty for a year, somebody new can't come in and get
Oh,
a
okay,
tobacco
great.
permit.
I
Do
see.
you have another one of these? I'm sorry, I didn't
Yes.
realize what
Nope.
it was when you were handing it out.
No, no.
Don't you need it?
Nope, because I have it. Believe me, I
Because I can get it when you're done if you
No,
want.
I have another one.
Okay.
I have the top sheet. I drink and sleep these, so I can. I don't. I just need to make sure I understand what your changes are. And then 15, like if you drop down to 15, 16, and 17, and 18, these are all state laws that we enforce with your local people anyway, and we're just asking you to put them in your regs, so if there's a local problem, we can address it through the Board of Health, because sometimes the Attorney General's office or somewhere else, they're just not gonna get out here. The state has, you know, only a couple inspectors, and they tend to go after people that they can get big fines from. So if you had a problem with any of these areas, so we just ask boards to incorporate it. It's very standard. Just put it in your reg, and then if there's a local problem that arises, which almost never happens anymore with these, we can address it without reporting it to the state and waiting for nobody to come out, so.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing would be the flavor restriction. And the flavor restriction, it includes 9 new definitions, and it really expands your statement of purpose. And that's where you're restricting candy, fruit, and alcohol flavors of tobacco and vape.
They make candy with this stuff?
Yeah, nerd
Candy
flavor
flavor,
vape. They have
candy
strawberry,
flavor.
banana, cigars. They have,
Where's that one?
they started
Where is
doing
that?
Tutti Frutti
Number 9.
Chew.
Number 9.
So
What about the
it's-
marijuana? They're gonna make candy with it, marijuana too?
well, candy, that's a whole different thing. Edibles and
Edibles.
stuff, there are some of that.
Gummies.
But like, these
That's
are some of the,
another topic.
yeah, I'm gonna leave these. These are the vaping devices, but then they show you they have a vape, and it's the caramel apple drop, and it actually looks exactly like the candy that they sell.
Oh my God.
They sell in the candy stores. So you can actually go get Lucky Charms flavored vape. You can get Fruity Pebbles flavored vape. So you know we're
Oh
moving
my
it all
God.
to adult
I
shops.
can't believe it.
So number 8, no new permits within blank feet, like, is,
I can't believe it.
how many feet? What's the?
You guys would pick, but most people go 500. People do 250 or 500. So if you if you decide you want to,
250.
if you decide you want to do that one.
500's more restrictive.
Yeah, I would say 500.
Right, so no, and to be honest with you, there's not one retailer that is going to contest that, because they don't want somebody dropping
Yeah.
next door to them anyway,
Okay,
so
yep.
it really does help you with
Okay, yeah,
densities.
500. Okay.
Yep, and then,
I'm sorry to ask this,
Nope.
but could you explain the blunt wraps again? The
The bl-
cigar?
right, the blunt wraps are basically a cigar wrap. It actually has tobacco in it, and it's a
Okay.
cigar wrap. They're brown, and what,
Yeah.
I wish I brought my product box with me, because I always have it in the car. And what happens is, when the blunt cigars came out, the little mini cigars came out, the kids were cutting them and dumping the cigar out and then using the wrap.
Oh,
So the
like a
tobacco
cigarette.
industry went, hey, don't waste our good tobacco, let us just make you the wrap. And then the blunt wrap came out on the market.
Oh.
So
the
that's not
industry-
paper, it's
Yeah,
not
so the industry
rolling paper.
realized really big that that was a big youth market, big, teenagers all up through college. So, hey, let us help you out now. We'll cut the tobacco out of it. So they sold the blunt cigars, and then they sold the blunt wraps. So you could wrap whatever you wanted in it. So often...
Isn't it tobacco, though, that wraps
It's a
a cigar?
tobacco wrap. So it's made with nicotine, and it's brown, and it's tobacco
tobacco
leaf. It's
leaf.
got
Yeah.
tobacco leaf in it, but it's a cigar. It kind of has that cigar. They call it a cigar wrap because,
It's tobacco leaves.
it's the tobacco leaf, so it's called the cigar wrap. And what ends up happening is the nicotine heightens the high a little bit. So they put a higher concentration of nicotine in that wrap. So police departments really are supportive of just doing a blunt wrap and getting rid of them. Nobody buys them to put tobacco in them because you can buy them with tobacco already in them for the same price.
Okay. Thank you.
You said something about edibles. Are they coming up with tobacco edibles?
He
No,
just
he was
mentioned
talking about
candies.
the
He mentioned candies,
flavor
um,
and thought they were
yeah.
putting nicotine and tobacco in candy.
And
but
are they
they're not.
doing that?
No.
They're not doing that.
No. What happens, everybody asks us, because tobacco control is not mixed in right now with the marijuana. And they're telling marijuana shops, any pot shop that opens up, they cannot sell any product that's not marijuana or marijuana related. Just like we're gonna tell adult shops, if you're gonna be an adult smoke shop and you wanna convert over or you wanted to open one in Littleton after you passed your regs, we're saying you can only have flavor in an adult shop. But if you're gonna be in an adult shop, you can't have lottery gum, gas, milk, you can't have any item that isn't used for tobacco and vape. So they're using that model for the marijuana shops right now for the Cannabis Control Commission.
Okay.
And edibles is something boards of health can get involved in if you want to. It's a little off topic, but it's related to
For
the smoking.
marijuana edibles.
For marijuana edibles.
I
because
just didn't
they're
know if they
letting
were
you-
coming up
they're-
with tobacco
Yeah, the
edibles.
Cannabis Control Commission is there's a draft through Mass Municipal and MHAB with the same place, and it reads just like this tobacco reg. They use the tobacco reg as a model, and it allows boards of health to incorporate the food code into sanitary code and food code. So you can go into marijuana shops and regulate the sanitary conditions, and you can regulate the food code for anybody that's
I think that was
preparing
actually
edibles.
distributed to all of the board members here.
Yeah, MHAB, that would have been from Cheryl Sabara,
Yeah.
and she's another attorney that everybody works with, and were you guys a yes town or a no town?
Yes.
Yeah, yes town, we were too, Athol, I'm on the Board of Health in Athol, and I was also on the marijuana bylaw committee, so Athol right away jumped out of the gate, and we put in a bylaw early, before anybody applied for anything, we limited it to the 20% of the alcohol permits, so only 2 can open in Athol, and we zoned it, put in zoning laws before it all came. So I go to all the cannabis control meetings that they have, and I've never seen anything in my life working for the state all these years that comes out, well, today it's this way, now we changed our mind, next week it's this way. We did the presentation, but as of last night, mark off this and write in this because we decided this. It's like I've never have seen a policy come out so
Quick.
unorganized and whatnot, so.
Does Athol
Work in
have,
progress.
does Athol have a shop, have a retail shop?
Athol has 2 permits that are taken, and they're both
So do
being.
we, I think,
They're
too.
being constructed, and we're having a problem now because of downtown location. Something happened, they bought a property, and it's on 3 streets, 3 properties that they were combining into one. Zoning allows them to do that, but the Cannabis Control Commission said, no, you need a different permit for each street, each side of the street. So it reduced their square footage, or however they're saying per plant footage that you can have, because it's a cultivation. So they want to do an outdoor greenhouse, and that wasn't in the plan. So that's all, backing that up. Because it's downtown. So the Board of Health wants to make sure we're not going to have a nuisance order problem. Because in a ground house, it lets light in and out, it lets air in and out differently than a regular building. And would that, are we going to have an outdoor odor problem? But Fitchburg, Mass. has 7 cultivation facilities. So they've had a lot of work on making sure odors don't get out, so we're gonna go tour one of the Fitchburg, Mass ones, but
Yeah.
most of them are in an industrial area, not next door to the YMCA but we put in 500 feet from a playground, and this one is or a daycare facility, because it says schools, but we did preschool and daycares. So the YMCA has daycare in it, plus it's children. This location is exactly 501 feet away from the corner property of the YMCA. So, and it's in our downtown location. But we're getting two that are going to actually be doing sales. So
That's what we have
edibles
too,
and
with
sales and-
two permits and a cultivation place that we already have
So,
running.
yeah, so it's a whole new, we got a lot of issues in Athol, so this is either gonna be something that's gonna work right or it's not. So I'm sure that's the way it is for everybody.
Can we agree we all want to have a public hearing on all these tobacco regs?
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be a good idea.
And that we're, I think, all comfortable with adding all of the restricted pieces?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. One of the things I was recommending is leaving, I would only want you guys to go to 36-month tolling period instead of 24, but you would leave all your fines, 100, 200, 300. So if you're gonna.
You're talking about number 20?
Yeah, when you get down to 20 and 22.
Go to 36, all of them?
Yeah, so you would just, I'm gonna recommend that you go to, you have the blue is your choice, but I would like you to go to 36 months, but I'd recommend that we leave in the draft 100, 200, 300, and then you have 2, 10, 30, so it's not necessary to do 7, 14, 60. We don't have a lot of violations, and usually after the first violation in the tolling period, we don't have Littleton, we don't really have too many, we don't have any repeat violator right now in Littleton. So if we're gonna be doing all these retail environment changes for them, I don't wanna also whack them with a higher penalty for the next time they make a mistake.
Could you?
Yeah, because we have made
tolling
them stricter.
periods?
We've gone up to 21 instead of 18, so.
Right.
So there's a chance that, right now, we haven't had any violations, but
Someone could make a mistake.
someone could make a mistake because the rule is new and
Right. We're doing,
what does a 21-year-old look like?
we delivered the sign and we delivered this new state law 4-page amendment to each retailer, and I had sent to Janet each retailer sign that they had received it, so we were able to do that in January because the signs didn't come out from the state till.
And many of them had called and said, they had, even before they'd heard that the board had voted to have it 21, that they were telling customers, no, it's 21, that's the,
Your
even though
retailers
people,
wanted it 21.
even though people were customers were coming and saying, oh, no, I was grandfathered. The retailers were very happy that you had voted that there was no grandfathering.
We'll do their retail ad at the end of March, and then we'll do the next compliance check sometime in April. So that way, we're gonna make sure they have all the education they need to make sure that they don't have a violation.
Could you explain 19, 20, and 21? I'm sorry, I didn't follow what you were talking about.
Okay, right now, the options are some, like the city of Boston, Worcester, Springfield, they're just going to a straight $300 fine because
Wow.
300 no matter what, first violation, second violation, third violation, because it's too hard for them to, with the massive size of the cities, to do tolling. A lot of towns like that idea, so there's a handful of smaller towns that went straight to 300. We're no longer going to track 1, 2, 300. We've never had a problem in 20-something
We've only
years
got
tracking it.
nine
Right.
locations.
So you're recommending the 100, 200, 300?
We're recommending you to keep what you have.
And that is dollars, right?
Yeah, 100, 200, 300 for your first, second, and third violation. You have a 24-month tolling period, but I will recommend that you use 36.
What
So
is tolling
what is
period
tolling
mean?
period?
tolling period means if you have a violation today, I go back 24 months. But if you have a violation today, I want you to go back 36 months, 3 years. We used to do a lot more inspections. We don't do as many as we do now. So I don't, every 2 years,
Sure.
someone can get a clean slate that might not really deserve
Yeah.
it.
So
So,
the first thing is 24 months if he doesn't have any problem, right?
yep, but it would.
He makes
now
a
we want you to go to
problem, then you go
36
to
months.
36.
Yeah, and then your current
Going-
permit
I'm sorry.
suspensions are
Sorry.
2, 10, and 30. A lot of the people in the state have moved to 7, 14, and 60. I don't think we almost never have permit suspensions, so I think it's almost like if somebody makes that mistake to give them, if you had a lot of non-compliance, I'd be recommending the heavier penalties. You have occasional
So
non-compliance.
you're saying to stick with the 2, 10, 30?
Good.
Yes. You guys have occasional non-compliance, so I'd rather not. Yeah.
So
I
can
put
I
it
go
down
back
there
to,
in an asterisk.
can I go back to number 20? So for tolling periods, when you suggest to do the 36-month, does that mean, so when they have a violation, you'll go back 3 years later? I mean, 3
36
years,
months.
after
Yeah.
3 years, 36 months?
Yeah. So it falls off 36
To check
months.
in.
Yeah.
But
All right.
first is 24
They'll
months.
go back 3 years? I don't understand what that
No,
means.
she will go back and investigate them, look at them.
Well, right now, we track everything in a state database. So what will happen is if you have the 36-month tolling period, if you have the 24 months, somebody violates today, I go into the RDMS and I put 2 years back from today, and it tells me everything that they violated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want to
Oh,
go
you
back
go back
3
in
years.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go back in time. So, and if they had, like, say 2 years ago, I gave somebody a warning, now I know they get a $100 ticket. If I gave somebody 2 years ago, 18 months ago, I gave them a $100 fine, I know now when this violation, they get a
okay.
$200 fine.
Okay.
Wow.
So I just went through all these, just
Yep.
making sure I have my circles right. And it looks like everything in blue, what you would recommend would be a yes, including the have but expands, except for when we get down to 19, which you're recommending 100, 200, 300,
Right.
and 21, which you're recommending 210, 30.
Correct.
Right, so in the draft, I'd like to put, keep your penalties as they are, and if you actually go to your violation section, I put in blue 20, black is 24 and 36 is the choice, so I kept your fines as they were. I didn't even put the 300 as an option. I only put the 36 in
Because you're
there.
going to want us to tell you the answers to all this, right? So
Yep.
you can finalize.
Yep.
Okay. And then
Well, that's a lot of
no
money,
new
300
permits
bucks.
within 500 feet.
Well,
They make a mistake, boy, they're gonna make sure they don't make a
we're
mistake.
not, I didn't put it in. I'm showing you it's a choice, but in the
Yeah.
draft that you
It's only
have,
100, 200,
if you go to that page, if you go to the violation page, everything in black you already have and everything blue is new, so you'd go to the violation section,
Right,
which
right.
I think is page, so you can
Page
see
1
what it
and
looks
2
like.
the same?
Your violation section is, I think it's page 12, 13. It's on page 12 and 13. So you're keeping everything the same. The only thing you'll be doing is going 36 months.
And the other variables would be no new permits within 500 feet of existing permit.
Yep.
And does the cap on number 6, does your suggested language including the retiring?
It does.
Okay.
It
And
does.
then the last thing would be what the cap is, and then we'd be checking to see how many permits we had.
So in the draft, I would put,
And then keep it at that number, right?
if you're doing the retiring cap, we'd keep it at that number, but if you're just gonna do a straight cap, we do recommend, because you could have a gas mini mart that's coming, or a grocery store that's coming, and if you didn't leave room for growth, but in a retiring cap, if a new person's coming, they don't
Well,
get it.
they don't have
So
to
either
sell
way, they don't get it.
tobacco.
Yeah, either way, they don't get it, now that I think about it, so, yeah. They only get it if they wanna take over somebody else's
So we can
location.
stick with the current number and then
Yep.
do the retirement.
Current number, yep.
Wow, a lot of stuff.
And is page 1 and 2 the same? And I just,
Oh, do you have two? Did I actually give you two by mistake? Oh, I just, I must have stapled 2 pages
Okay.
on yours by mistake
I
when I
didn't
was
know if there was
correlating.
like something slight
Nope.
changed in this that I was.
No, I just,
okay.
when I was missing a page and I reprinted it, now I know where it went. Okay, sorry about that.
I got one.
So, yeah, so there's, like I said, most of this is standard.
Okay.
And the other thing is based on information that people bring in the written comment period or people present at the hearing. You're not committing to anything. You're just committing to kitchen sink draft, and then you can pass it as is after the hearing if things go well, or if there's something you have concerns about, you can pull things out.
Well, I'm glad we have
Boy,
you.
I hope we don't have too much trouble with this.
I don't think you will. Because I've already done legwork with retailers, and a lot of your retailers in Littleton own a store somewhere else that has these regulations, so it's not new to
Oh, I
them.
see, yeah.
So I'll be able to, when I deliver it, I'll be able to give you a list of, these 5 people aren't coming because, and chain stores never come out. The chain stores never come to a
How
hearing.
come?
Because they just say, if your town passes a policy, just accept it.
Wow.
So, Cumberland Farms, your Circle K's, your.
CVS.
Well, CVS doesn't sell anymore
cigarettes
because they're a pharmacy.
Because they want to be more health-related, so.
But the CVS came out and did it as a corporation, but then January 1st, no pharmacy. So all the pharmacies now can't,
Cool.
as of January 1st, can't have tobacco.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, so, and we're gonna prepare all this for April 23rd?
April 23rd?
We were April 8th, but I think you're out of town, so you.
I'm out of town.
So we'll
If
do,
23rd doesn't, either way is fine with me. Just can't go in.
Thank you.
and then I'll prepare the
Yeah,
notice.
thank you so much.
Yep, and I'll prepare the notice and I'll get it to Janet. And it's a little early to put the notice in if we're doing April 23rd.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just give me,
Yeah, and you only have to put it in the paper once, you don't have to put it in twice. But what I'll do is I'll probably wait like,
April 21?
well, April 23rd, yeah, I'll probably wait like 3 weeks
Regular
before the
meeting.
hearing. So I'll get everything ready and get it to her, and then I'll let the merchants know right away. And then I'll send her a scanned, like I did last time, it will scan and it'll say on the top that I delivered it and the time, and then it will have everybody signing so that we know what stores, who in the store signed, so no one can say, oh, I didn't know, I wasn't notified, I didn't know about it. By law, you're only required, if you're gonna have a public hearing, you're only required to publish it once, and this is an extra step we go to make sure the retailers know what's going on. And by law, you don't even have to have a public hearing on this, but we would never recommend making changes like this without one. And we always do public hearings. You open them, you close them if nobody's here. You know, we showed that we wanted
Why
public
wouldn't you
input.
have to have a public hearing on this?
There's no state statute or anything, or a code that requires a public hearing on a tobacco reg. We have always done public hearings on tobacco from the get-go, though, to show that we're not trying to, like, we're asking for public input before making decisions. It's smart to do a public hearing, but there's very few things in a Board of Health that you are required to have to do a public hearing. So, and then there's some things that you have to post twice, 2 weeks apart. Some things have, certain variances and certain types of hearings you required, but, okay?
Mhm.
And if you think of anything, other information you'd like to have before now and then, you could just have Janet let me know if there's any questions.
So you're gonna give me a number?
Yes.
What kind of permit does a vaping store have to get?
The tobacco permit, because you're defining tobacco now as, so they get the same permit as everybody else. But you would have it,
they want me to
there's a
post
separate
it.
one-page guideline that
Office.
explains to them
That
all the
one.
things that they have to do to be an adult store. To
Mhm.
be an adult store, they have to have a buzzer system to
whole
let
thing.
somebody in.
I'm gonna post it in
For
the
FDA
packet.
inspections,
It's
state
all the same.
inspections.
It's all the
That
same.
And
no
I'm gonna
minor
put it
is
in the
allowed
Board
to
of
be
Health
more
for
than 3
people to
steps in
take.
the threshold. So dad with baby in the backpack, mom in a stroller, cool mom with a
I'm gonna keep
14-year-old
one,
cannot
okay?
walk into the store. They get stopped at the
Wow.
door and they can't come in. So,
Quick question.
So-
Are these the marijuana regs that you passed roughly? It's like that's the template that with the MAH.
yes, this looks really close to the template that
Did
we
you have someone come in and speak to your board about that?
No, we're reviewing the local board reg right now.
I'll
We
take
did the
that, just
bylaw, but now the
put 'em
Board of Health is
outside
looking
with
at
our-
this right
At
now.
this, okay.
Yep, so we haven't passed it yet, but we're looking at it right now.
Going to have someone come in and talk to you about it?
Yeah, I think we're gonna ask Cheryl Sabara to
Okay.
come in. Cheryl Sabara does a lot.
She came in and saw us once.
Oh, she,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
if you call her or email her, have any questions, she's very responsive,
copy of
and she'll
that?
come to
One
a
copy.
meeting to
The
go
one she
over
gave
these.
you.
But these came from, actually,
No, the other
MAHB.
one.
MHAB,
The other one,
yep.
Yeah, I
So-
don't think she talked to us
The
about
one with the
marijuana.
stuff.
No, but she's a resource, just like
No,
DJ
no,
is.
she
Yeah,
came to
yeah,
us
she's a
before, but she
great
talked to
resource.
us about something else.
Yeah.
So, going back to the adult
This
store and
one
the
for
vaping
the
store,
other thing is,
if
other
we
different thing.
I don't have another different thing.
cap any permits and
The
then
one
we
she just
retire and we
It's the
don't
same
have
thing.
any vaping store, they can't come to town.
They can't
Are
come
you
to
getting the
town.
same thing I get?
Nope, they can't. And then what ends up happening is,
Okay.
if they buy one of your marts,
Don't yell at me, I'm
they
sensitive.
can transfer
I do
over.
realize you-
Or one of your current mini marts can say, I want to not be a convenience store, I want to be one they can transition over. So it's possible you could get one.
May I make a motion?
1 second, she finished.
Yep.
Thank you. Now you can make a motion.
Thank you.
Are we all set?
Adjourn?
I'll second.
Anybody
Well,
second?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.